I would say you guys independent artists. I know what that feels like, but you guys are having a lot of success. Can you guys, I guess, talk about the highs and lows of being an independent artist and maybe some of the hurdles that you guys have faced?
Well, yeah. So coming out and starting out, we did the label route, for a couple different rounds. We were with Warner for a little while. We were with Island for a little while. Bounced around for a few different places, and we just kind of, it's not to say that there's any drawbacks to the certain companies that we are working with, but if you can have that foundation and build it and just have the right team, you can do it without do it without a label. You can do it on your own.
Yeah.
And there's definitely challenges with it. You know what I mean? You got to work a lot harder. You got to cross a lot more, T's and dot a lot more I's and pay attention to a lot more things. A lot more things can fall through the cracks, and it's all on you if it doesn't. You know what I mean? Right. You can't really blame anybody else. So it's a lot harder work, but once you start to put that work in and understand what it takes, you start to see the fruits of the labor on the other side of it, and it can be really good passive income. It could be a really good business, for you, for sure. As a, and then as you grow and you're able to, possibly sign other people under you and do different things like that, it just opens up a whole plethora of opportunities for you as an artist and as a businessman. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it definitely takes time and it definitely takes, like I said, that foundation, that you kind of have to build first. And, there's no really skipping any steps there. But,
yeah. Were you about to comment on that?
Yeah, I guess I was going to touch on it a little bit. Just like you said, we started off doing on a major, you know what I'm saying? And I think it was a good experience because, you learn a lot. But at the same time, you start to see what everybody's talking about as far as, like, politics and, this regime came in. And then, when we were with two different labels, we were in the midst of regime changes, a new CEO, new this, new that, and all the things that come along with that. So, like, I think that one of the main things with being independent is just less red tape. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you win a major label, like, when something's going, there's a button that they can push that only a major label can push. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to replicate that. But
that's right.
I also think, too, just like, for us, it wasn't the craziest jump just because, we always been pretty self-contained. Like, art always comes from us, video ideas, like, creative, all that stuff. The only thing it was just like funding, and it's just like there's so many different means where you could get funding for your music and ways to promote it. And also, too, just connect more so with the fans. When we first signed with the label, it was like 2016. Social media was different. Instagram was different. There was no stories on Instagram. Like, the shit was still in chronological order and everything like that. So the game has changed so much where you can connect with your fan base so directly and get a song popping, you know what I'm saying, on your own if it's good and it connects with the people. Like, you don't need, you know what I'm saying, this person to do a radio tour and all this other stuff, you know. But I think we've always been kind of, like, self-contained as far as, like, creative and always had, like, a close-knit team and stuff. So I don't... There's definitely a difference, but we are always, like, pretty self-contained.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. I've actually never been on a label as an artist, worked with labels as a producer, writer, whatever, but I get that. And I've heard the stories from so many different artists that's had opportunities with labels. They don't press the button on for whatever reason, politics, regime change, it's corporate. But, like, shout out to Dame Dash. You hear him always talk about, as a boss. And in the music business, really in all business, when you're the boss, you may be the last person to get paid, but the upside is crazy. Because you control it, you have this and that. You got to make sure you're taking care of your team, make sure you're doing that and doing that. But you open up so many opportunities for yourself to where when it does break out, it breaks out.
No, for sure. I think especially when it comes to your art, man, it's just like, I don't think any of us like asking for permission to do something. Can we do this? Can I get this approved? Like, whatever. It's just like, I think especially at this point in my career, in my life, like, I don't want to have to answer to nobody or get somebody's permission if I want to do something. If we believe in something, we just want to be able to go.
Art is subjective. You feel me? Like, and it's subjective. And so if you have to sit there and wait for somebody behind the desk to believe in it as much as you do to push X button or Y button, you know what I mean? When you see everything pointing up data wise, even when there were times we were signed to a major and everything was pointing this way data wise in the direction it needed to, and it's like, why aren't you doing this? And they just Maybe it wasn't the time, or maybe it was fourth quarter and budgets were closing, or maybe, you know, X, Y, Z, and it just didn't get the necessarily the chance that maybe it could have gotten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you obviously you're not behind the label and you control your own budget, you do, you know, you can make those decisions for yourself. I mean, you got to pay for them if they don't go the right way.
Yeah.
But you know, when it's time to push it, you can push your own button. I mean, like you said, you can't replicate the same button that a major label can push, but you can make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You guys making noise, and again, in this market, in this climate, because you can get to, you know, again, I'm just randomly riding in New Orleans in the car, and then your music pops on the playlist, and it's like, man, who are these guys? So you're gonna draw in your audience, and people are ready to spend money with you guys.
Yeah,
no,
you know
100%. I'm cool being accountable. You know what I'm saying? Accountable for my. I'd rather be, if something failed, but it was my decision, I'm 100% cool with that.
Yeah.
But when it's in somebody else's hands or somebody else didn't do their job, that's when
It's harder to live with.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder to live with.
Can we talk? Oh, can we talk? Can we talk?